Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jumper and welcome back to another general discussion video. Now, it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I thought because of the recent news of Tears of the Kingdom, I thought why not make a video or general video or discussion video about it, and just so I can catch anyone up who might not be on the loop. As of a few days ago, I think 2 or 3 days ago, it was announced that Tears of the Kingdom wouldn't be getting any DLC, and I think this is kind of a shock, kind of, because there were people, and probably myself included, that were kind of hoping for DLC, here and there, maybe like something similar to Breath of the Wild. Like with Breath of the Wild, that game had DLC, obviously, with Master Mode and the Champion's Ballad slots. And yeah, with this, I feel like I kind of wish there was some kind of DLC. Probably not as much as probably like having, let's say, I don't know, maybe it's like a Master Mode, maybe, because a lot of the Zelda games haven't been known for using Hero Mode or Master Mode, depending on which game you're playing, like Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, The Wind Waker HD, and because like it's kind of hard to explain, but it's what I think. I think Tears of the Kingdom is one of those games that is so huge with its content because not only does it have the same base map that it has from Breath of the Wild, but also the Sky Islands and the depths. And yeah, so what I'm gonna do, because I've got my laptop here, I'm going to read out the quote that Anuma said, and then from that I'm gonna talk about some of my thoughts in more detail and about the whole thing with Tears of the Kingdom and having no DLC, and maybe talk about where the Zelda series could go moving forward. So to quote Anuma, and also the quote will probably be on screen now. So to quote Anuma, there are no plans to release additional content this time, but that's because I feel like I've done everything I can to create games in that world. In the first place, the reason why we chose this time as a sequel to the previous game is because we thought there would be value in experiencing a new kind of play in that place in Hyrule. Then, if such a reason is newly born, it may return to the same world again. Whether it's a sequel or a new work, I think it will be a completely different new way to play. So I'd be happy if you could look forward to it. Now, since looking at that quote and reading it out, I think, I think Tears of the Kingdom is a really massive game, and it feels complete, or some parts. What I'm trying to get is, if you look at both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I feel like Breath of the Wild, it felt probably half or nearly complete, because with that game you had, it was like the first of its kind in terms of the Zelda series, in the sense that it was a huge open world. You could do whatever you want. You could go in any direction you want and do any of the bosses in any order, and then we got the Master Mode and the Champion's Ballad, which I felt like added to the game a bit more. With Hero Mode, you got a more difficult version of Breath of the Wild. Then with the Champion's Ballad, it gave us more context to the champions from 100 years ago, and that's really awesome. With Tears of the Kingdom, I feel like it helps expand on that particular world of Hyrule with the Breath of the Wild Hyrule that we got in the games, and I do enjoy going between the depths, the main surface area of Hyrule, and then the Sky Islands. I think those three areas are really interesting to explore because you don't see a game map like that. You might see it in like a few other games, but when it comes to Zelda, this is probably the largest map in the whole world. And yeah, I would say as of reading the quote and kind of thinking about it a bit more, it does somewhat feel finished. And I feel like if the team behind Tears of the Kingdom did want to go back to Tears of the Kingdom Hyrule, probably once more, maybe. I was thinking maybe some sort of animated short film, maybe, and we see how Hyrule is sort of recovering from the events of Tears of the Kingdom after, spoiler alert, you defeat Ganondorf at the end of the game after he becomes a giant dragon, and yeah, and if they and yeah, I wouldn't mind if we went back to Hyrule, this version of Hyrule just once more, like just maybe just one more time as a sort of, because as I said before, if they did make an animated short film, we could see this be taking place a month and a half since the end of the game, and we could see Hyrule at peace, just all the citizens of Hyrule just finishing off some of the remaining monster camps, or just rebuilding some part of Castle Town maybe, and just seeing everyone just being at peace and just feeling a sense of freedom and quietness since the events of both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Now, when it comes to the Zelda series as a whole, moving forward, I think we're not going to see a 3D Zelda game in a few years, or maybe in a long time, maybe 15 to 20 years. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure, I could be all wrong with that. And I feel like, as of now, Nintendo are going to probably have a break from 3D games for now, and maybe focus on a couple of 2D games, or creating some 2D games, like kind of like A Link to the Past, the Oracle games, the Minish Cap, those kinds of games, and we could probably see a whole new 2D game, or a remake of an old 2D game. So something like the Minish Cap or the Oracle games, we could see games from, well, remakes for those games. And if it's a new 2D game, it'll be interesting to see what kind of direction it takes and how the story goes and what kind of new world we get to see from it. And yeah, in terms of Tears of the Kingdom and the whole Breath of the Wild duology, trilogy if you count Age of Calamity, I feel like those games are really interesting. For Breath of the Wild, it was the first Zelda game to fully experience an open world. Yes, we had seen open world based games before in previous Zelda games, so like probably some parts of, mainly the sky from Skyward Sword and the Great Map, or no, the Great Ocean from the Wind Waker. But those, even those games were a whole lot linear, because it funneled you into a specific plot point. So like, oh, you have to find 3 pearls, you have to find 3 sacred flames, you have to find shards of the Triforce, that kind of thing. But with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, there was the whole do your own adventure thing. Here's an open world, enjoy. So seeing, the Zelda game, although the Zelda series going from linear to more open world games, is kind of interesting and fun. And I would think when it comes to new games, I feel like Nintendo would either want to continue making maybe a new 3D Zelda game in the future, maybe, but I would say, or something like, as the sort of like break from 3D games, maybe a 2D game, maybe, and I said before, maybe a remake of an old game that they could release, maybe. But overall, I think that the DLC, the being noticed, the Kingdom DLC is okay. I think I was kind of hyped, not a whole lot, but a bit, to see some DLC, but for Tears of the Kingdom. But as of the announcement that was made a few days ago, I mean, like, I'm okay with it. I don't mind, really. I think Tears of the Kingdom is an awesome game. I have enjoyed it, playing from start to finish. But as of now, I'm okay with not there being any DLC for it. So overall, I'm okay with there being no DLC. I think it's okay, and here's hoping for more new Zelda games. So that's been my sort of discussion for the Tears of the Kingdom DLC. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.